This is TWiT.
Great piece I want to recommend in the IEEE journal Spectrum by Rodney Brooks, who is a roboticist. He was, until 2007, director of the Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Lab at MIT. He's taught at Stanford and Carnegie Mellon, and he's had 3 robotic startups. And the title, Just Calm Down, about ChatGPT-4 already. But this is really important. And stop confusing performance with competence. You read the article, Glenn?
Yeah, he's always a voice of reason. He's not a hyper, I think when he started getting into robotics, he was very excited about it, but I don't think he ever, I'm trying to remember, almost 20 years of following his work. I don't feel he ever said did a Segway kind of announcement. This is going to change transportation in cities or whatever. He's like, well, it'll have applications. And then he was behind iRobot. So, there are, I don't know how many millions, tens of millions of Roombas and knockoffs out there. It did change home vacuuming. It's a narrow scope. And I think that was
But you would never ask a Roomba for legal citations in a lawsuit, right?
Oh, just wait till they add the plugins.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, to be fair, though, paralegal jobs are one of the top on the list for AI to take over. Like when people talk about AI replacing jobs, paralegals is going to be one of those professions because it is just essentially research and summarizing data. Well, AI will be good at that. It is good at that, but there will be errors for now. And right now, that's where we are, right? But the thing to remember too is that even though we have these, these goofs and screw-ups will make news and come out, but the rate at which this stuff is improving is exponential, and it's just going to be very quickly. These stories will go away, and we won't be.
I got to disagree with you. It's not exponential though. It's not even geometric. This is where I'll go off on you. Let's have an argument. No, just a very polite.
Okay.
I think there is a tendency. I think there's a very human thing, and also in technology where everything is exponential, chip growth and speed and processors, a lot of hardware things, to assume that certain kinds of things, or not assume, but to feel that they're going to be going to continue at the rate of pace. In artificial intelligence, we've seen again and again that there have been significant, particularly in artificial intelligence, but in other software-related capacities, we've seen again and again that things have improved to a certain point and then leveled off and only eked out improvements after that. And I remember very distinctly interviewing Jan LeCun almost 10 years ago, who's one of the fathers of deep learning. Deep learning came out of the stalls they had in previous, machine learning algorithms that could never get beyond, I don't know what it was, 80-something% recognition on photo matching, on voice recognition. Deep learning was, it's the new thing. It's going to get to 100%. And he said, even in the middle of all this, it's like 2015 or something, he said, well, deep learning's we're reaching the end. It's not going to improve that much more. We're eking it out. Maybe this new kind of learning, I forget what it's called. It's not reflexive, but it's like a responsive learning thing with a cycle. I think it might be more like the generative adversarial network approach that developed. He said this has some promise, but I don't know. He wasn't throw away deep learning. We got to this, we got so much better, but it's not there. I am absolutely convinced we're going to see this level off in the same way. So I don't think there is a 99.99% for large language models or any combination of things, but I think we'll certainly be better than the state we are now. And ChatGPT-4 is so much better than 3.5. You compare them side by side, but I don't think it's going to be I would strongly disagree that it's going to be an exponential improvement. I think we're getting towards the top of the significant improvements that can be made.
I think it's going to continue to improve, but I will say, in terms of the human brain and what we know, this stuff is very far from that. These things still have issues with inference. They cannot do it. They can't do basic tasks that even a child can do yet. So there is, and I don't think the large language models are going to improve upon that. I'm saying, though, in terms of what we're doing right now with them, they're going to improve very, very quickly simply because of the exposure and amount of people that are using them, and the data that's being fed into them has never been done at this scale. And so I think we'll see large improvements. I'm very skeptical of AI currently in the sense that it's going to reach, or AGI. You know, I think that's extremely far off. We don't even understand how the human brain works ourselves, let alone being able to figure it out in these kind of systems. So I'm not saying we're going to reach that part, but I think within what we're doing right now with LLMs, I think we're going to see a dramatic increase over the next few months. And especially when we go to the next level of GPT, but it will be confined. You're right. I mean, we're not going to have like robots walking around in 2 years, acting like people.
This is germane. This is germane because
over that.
The biggest story for Microsoft Build was AI. I mean, this was the AI conference, starting with Satya Nadella saying we've got 50 plus AI products to show you. I'm going to talk about 5. They're putting AI in search. They're putting AI in Microsoft 365 and Office. They're putting it in Windows even. Yeah. And, in all the screens Microsoft showed at the very bottom in fine print you could barely read, it said that disclaimer, this is generated by AI and may not be accurate. Yeah. But that's a lot to put on something that may not be accurate. Rodney Brooks wrote an article to solve the problem between you two. I will throw this in. He wrote this in 2017, so he wrote this 6 years ago. The 7 deadly sins of AI predictions.
Oh yeah,
and one of them really is, and I think this is what's going on right now. We're seeing how fast we are going from DALL-E to DALL-E 2 to Stable Diffusion, from ChatGPT 3 to ChatGPT 4. It looks like. And it might even be, Glenn, exponential at this point. But I think you're not saying it's not exponential or it's not geometric. What we don't know is it continuous? And
it's the improvement factor, right? It's like what's perfection? And perfection would be 100%. I mean,
it's Zeno's paradox. You're not going to get there,
right? But let's say it's 99.9% voice recognition, right? I just did a big roundup for Charter on AI transcription tools, and I did it earlier this year. Did a lot of checking major services that are available to individuals, and some of them also included ChatGPT summaries or similar ones. And a few months went by, the review just went up, and I was doing a bunch of interviews. I'm doing a history of Yahoo Pipes, by the way, for those who remember Yahoo Pipes.
Oh my God, I miss Yahoo Pipes.
Yeah,
that was. Excuse me. That was really great.
It
was so great.
I'll let you know.
I inadvertently dropped an F-bomb. That's how great it was.
But so I interviewed, I don't know, 10 people, all the original folks, and had these 40-minute to hour-and-a-half conversations, record it all as I can do now. And I take detailed notes. I try to keep verbatim quotations. I've got a recording, but I feed it into one of the best of these AI recognition things. And I hadn't seen the ChatGPT 4 version. The summary, because I'm giving it, large language models are really good at taking a corpus of text and comparing it to a corpus of text. It does so well with that as opposed to extrapolate. So I'll give it the interview and it says, here's a summary of what you talked about. And I thought, if I did this myself, it would take me 30 to 60 minutes to come up with a list that was that good. And it was very good. And it was also 100% accurate. There was nothing introduced. And I was like, well, here is a use case. Here's something that works for me today. It helps me inform my reporting because it allows me to review that and find the spots in the text, in addition to the fact that I'm getting extremely reliable, like 97, 98% AI transcription. So that to me is kind of like, oh, well, we're in a new golden age for reporters who need transcriptions and more efficient ways of producing their work, right? Without giving up the actual writing part.
So there's some useful things. I note that the big one where you get in trouble is anytime you use the word think, because these are not thinking. They can't, extrapolation is a good word. They cannot take existing facts and extrapolate from it. Brooks uses the example of, you can have a picture recognize that that's 2 guys in the park throwing a Frisbee, and you might say, wow, that's really impressive, but you can't say, well, can you eat a Frisbee? How far can you throw a Frisbee? It doesn't know Frisbee. It doesn't understand the concept of Frisbee. It's not thinking. And I think we owe it to the unwashed masses, normal people, to kind of really belabor that point. The problem is we're also excited about this, and it fits our science fiction, fantasies, that I think we've oversold it to people. And I think it would really.
It's also, it's just what humans do, right?
Yeah,
we have
it's normal.
that we anthropomorphize, we're like they're thinking, and we do it. We see faces everywhere, and we see something with the face. We treat it differently, so humans are just wired to sort of see this behavior and then extrapolate from it and believe that. So we're just naturally flawed. You're right, though. I mean, we do need to get it out there, that this definitely has limits. But like I said, it's being rolled out in so many different ways that it's really starting to make an impact. It's just gone from a buzzword and there's research and here's a new paper to like, oh, here's this product. Oh, here's another product. And I think that's why it's just getting so much attention, right? I mean, if you look at Stable Diffusion, looking at video, there was just that, I don't know if you guys saw the video going around with DeSantis in the playing in The Office on the show. They replaced Michael's face with DeSantis's face. And it's not 100%, but it looks really pretty good. And so, how these kind of things affect, elections coming up and everything, it's going to be real, So I think that's the threat. The idea, though, that these things are thinking and all this, it's, we still got a long ways before that happens.
So this is, by the way, it was tweeted by Donald Trump Jr. So I don't know. Furthermore, I don't know.
Oh, that looks
it's pretty uncanny. I mean, it is Ron DeSantis's. Wow. That's a deep fake. That's really really good. Does it have his voice? I don't want to turn on the sound because I know I'll get taken down.
Show him
it's his voice that's but doing Michael's lines.
Okay, let me.
You know what? Pam, would you please tell Daryl that this is not a woman's suit?
Oh my God, that's a woman's suit.
You're wearing a woman's suit?
No, I do. I wear men's suits.
Oh, it is Ron's voice.
Yeah.
Oh, we're in a deep fake hurt here. This is just the beginning. Wow.
Yeah,
Imagine it in 2 years.
It's the fun part, though. That's, I think, why it got so much attention. Is it is a great demo, right? And things that have a great demo, you want to show off, and then people get bored of them. What was the thing? The Jib Jab, that thing that
Jib Jab, love Jib Jab,
yeah. And they created some tools where you could make your own Jib Jabs. It was like fun for 12 seconds,
right? Because
it's a very specific style, or everyone making Simpsons faces of themselves.
To Jib Jab for a year. Use it for a week.
I think we're seeing the hype curve, is starting to fade on it. But there are things like I'm working on a website right now, and I have not found a graphical tool I like. I'm so old. I remember good graphical tools. They don't exist anymore. And I've kind of forgotten a lot of my HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I'm using ChatGPT-4. I'm like, hey, don't say I've forgotten. Hey, dear Mr. Ms. Java ChatGPT. I say, how do I make a box that is centered? How do I do this? Whatever. And it spits out. I mean, this is like Copilot, right? But I'm asking kind of very specific questions. I had a problem on a page. I described it in natural language. And I said, why does the page move back and forth when I've got this with this CSS property? He said, oh, you need to do set overflow property to whatever. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. But I gave it this like paragraph long description of a problem. And again, it's a verifiable solution. It said, this is the thing I tested and it worked. I didn't say like, I'm a hemophiliac and I'm bleeding. What do I do? That's probably not a good
idea. Yeah.
Some people's use of it. That's an example.
I look at this video, I think we are heading into an election. This originally was created by C3P Meme and posts on Twitter. We're heading into an election where
everybody was rifling through them, crazy, and I grabbed one.
This is going to be...
And it fit.
A problem.
So I don't think...
This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by ACI Learning. 94% of CIOs and CISOs agree that attracting and retaining talent is increasingly critical to their roles. ACI Learning empowers your team to thrive while investing in the security of your business. Fill out the form at go.acilearning.com/twit for information on a free 2-week trial for your team.